Cheryl, and welcome to Kitchen ABCs. Thanks so much to Runza for supporting our program. Today, we're going to start off with a science experiment, but I have a special guest today. Come on over.
Well, hello there, Chef Cheryl, and did I hear you say science?
I did.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll have a science experiment here. That reminds me, don't forget to join me for my wacky weekend this weekend. The 16th through the 18th of April. We'll be open from 9 to 5, and we'll have plenty of science experiments featuring a slime bar throughout the museum. So what sort of science are we doing today, Chef Cheryl?
We are going to use cooking and science.
Woo.
Now, you inspire me so much because I love to make learning fun. So we're going to start off with our experiment, and then we're going to bake something. Have you guys ever heard of yeast? Well, we're going to use yeast in this. I'm going to put some yeast right in here. Scientists make lots of observations. Can you make an observation? You can use your magnifying glass and notice things about it.
So I see tiny little pieces. They look almost like grains. They're sandy in color and texture.
Okay, you know what? This is actually a dried fungus right now.
Oh!
But it makes delicious food. We're going to add some warm water to it. Good job.
Thank you.
We're going to wake up that fungus, and we're going to use sugar. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of sugar in here, and we'll mix it up a little bit. Now, yeast needs warm water to wake it up, and it also needs sugar to start a process called fermentation. It uses the sugar to break things down and cause carbon dioxide to form. Do you know what carbon dioxide is?
That's a form of gas, is that right?
It is exactly. It's actually what we breathe out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line here with my marker so we can see what's going to happen to this. And we'll come back to this and see if anything has changed. Look at all the bubbles.
Now that has raised quite a bit. So you said that the yeast ate the sugar and then gave off carbon dioxide, and this is what happened?
Yes, and do you remember what that process was called?
Oh, fermentation.
It is exactly. If you haven't guessed yet, we're making bread today. Now this is one everybody can join in on. It's fun. Everybody can use their hands, and it's delicious. Would you like an apron?
Oh, I would love an apron.
There you go.
It matches my hair.
We're going to make this easy and less cleanup by putting it in a bag. So first thing we're going to do is put a cup of flour into our bag here. We overfill it, use a straight edge, and put it in there. Then we're going to use 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now remember, we need sugar for the fermentation product to happen. So we have 2 and 3 tablespoons. Now we're going to add warm water. Now you want to get it as hot as your faucit has, so not too hot. We're going to add that. Now we're going to make sure there isn't a lot of air in it. Squeeze the air out.
Burping the bag?
Make sure it's nice and tight. Now what you're going to do is mix it all together like this. And you want to get in the corners so you don't get anything stuck in there.
So we're going to get messy, but not get too messy?
Right.
I like the way this feels.
Does it make silly noises?
It really does. Very squishy. The texture is changing.
How is that?
It feels thicker than when I started. You can tell it's mixing together.
We're going to let it sit for 10 minutes. That will get the yeast going. That's what we call proofing. Actually, we're proving that the yeast is live right now. We start to see bubbles. It's been 10 minutes. Let's add to our dough here. Oh, I see some little bubbles in here. We're going to add another cup of flour. Then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now you can use vegetable oil, you can use olive oil, you can even melt some butter. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And there we go. Now we're going to close that back up.
Can do. Are we taking out the air again?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
That all mixed in there.
My favorite part.
And again, make sure those little corners get mixed in.
Well, I think this will be a lot of fun to do at home.
It will be. We need to add 1 more cup of flour.
It's really starting to look like dough. Are we mixing again?
Yes.
I feel messy, but your kitchen isn't too messy.
It isn't bad, but it's okay to be messy, right? As long as you clean it up when you're finished.
I agree.
Because science and cooking can both be very messy. Now you want to do it so that you don't really see any flour. It's all mixed in as dough. So now we're going to do a really fun thing. We are going to knead the dough. Knead, K-N-E-A-D. So I'm going to lightly dust my cutting board with flour. And see how I have it in a pan? That saves the flour from getting all over the table or the counter.
Taking out the dough?
Yes.
Oh boy.
You could just dump it in if you want. So here we have our dough, and if it's a little bit sticky, make sure you put a little flour on your hands also. We are doing what we call kneading the bread. And what that means is we're kind of pushing on it, turning it, okay? So what I do is push and roll, and then I turn it, and I push and roll. You know what that's doing? What's that? It's helping form gluten. Now, gluten is kind of the elastic skin that's on our bread. There's like strands of gluten. Now, if we didn't have gluten in our bread, then all those little carbon dioxide bubbles that are formed would just pop, kind of like soap bubbles. If you touch them, they pop.
Would that mean you'd have very flat bread?
You would. The gluten in the flour forms these elastic kind of things, kind of like a balloon. So they don't pop very easily. So it kind of holds the carbon dioxide in so it could stretch out as far as it can go. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. Okay, we need to spray our little pans so they don't stick. And if you're using little aluminum kind of pans, you might want to put another pan underneath just so the bottom doesn't burn. I'm going to cut this in half so I can make 2 smaller ones. And I just shape them into a little loaf. Goes right inside. If you want to make it into one big loaf, you can do that too. Just have to bake it just a little bit longer. Another thing you have to do when you bake sometimes is wait. You need to let the dough raise a little bit more. So we're just going to set up for a half an hour. Then they'll raise a little more. Okay, now we're going to put them in a 375 degree oven, and we're going to cook them about 25 minutes. If you have them all in one loaf, you probably want to do it for about 35 minutes. Okay, are you ready?
And how? Let's see.
Okay, let's see.
Ooh, those smell delicious.
Look at our bread. Nice and brown. Thanks for helping me make bread today.
Oh, my pleasure. It was very fun to learn about the science.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a great time baking bread. Bye!
We'll see you this weekend. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to click the little bell so you get all the notifications when we make new content.